Once a destination has been selected for your flight in a private aircraft, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. Doug is doing something known as the pre-flight plan. And during this process, he's looking at all kinds of things. He's looking at the weather, he's seeing how far the destination is, he's calculating how much fuel we need, and he's also asking most likely how much we weigh as passengers, because the plane can only handle so much weight, including fuel, the passengers, and our luggage. So it's important to be honest with this calculation, and when you have a weight allowance, you need to stick to it. Second thing is, once we select a time to arrive at the airport, it's important to be on time. We may have all kinds of things to take into consideration. Weather may be a factor. We also may have set up transportation when we arrive, or we might even have a border crossing that we need to make on time. When you are packing for a trip in a small airplane, it's important to keep a couple of things in mind. Number one, we need you to pack in a small, soft-sided duffel bag. That way, when we're packing things in the back of an airplane in a very small space, they can be compressed and then they're easy to manage. Second thing we want to make sure that we remember is that we put all of our liquids in some type of resealable bag, because the airplane is not pressurized, and when you get to altitude, sometimes the contents can expand and explode, and we don't want stuff all over your clothes, and we don't want to ruin your trip. The last thing to remember is that we are probably going to weigh your luggage with a luggage scale when you get to the airport to make sure that we are not exceeding our useful load. And ladies, this is important for you to remember, especially if you are carrying a handbag or a book bag. Those contents are also going to be included in the weight allowance for that trip. Once you're inside the aircraft, there's a couple of things that you want to be familiar with. The first one is your headset. You simply put it on your head, make sure that the mouthpiece is really close to your lips because it is voice activated. Depending on the model, your volume adjustment is going to be a couple of places, either on each ear, or if you have a noise canceling headset, it will be right here. Very simple. Once you plug them in, you're all set to go. When you're in the airplane, it's really important that you tighten your seatbelt really tight and pull it so that you're cinched down, because you don't want your head to hit the top of the airplane if we hit any turbulence. As you can imagine, in a small aircraft there are no facilities, so you want to make sure the day of travel that you reduce the amount of coffee that you drink, and you make sure to use the facilities before you get in the airplane. We do carry emergency travel johns if there is an urgent situation, but it is an absolute last resort. It's always important to know what emergency procedures are, and in a small aircraft it is not hard to figure out where the emergency exits are located. One is the passenger door, one is the pilot door, and the luggage compartment door can also be used. There are more details in the seat back pocket right in front of you. Just a couple of more things before we get in the air. We also carry a spot in our airplane, and this is a GPS item that sends an email based on a satellite ping to a select group of people that's already been predetermined. And should we go down in a remote area without radio frequency, we can send that ping and ask for help, and they would know exactly where we are located. Once we all get into the airplane, Doug's going to start the engine and we are going to taxi out to the runway. And during this time, we need to be quiet once we get out there, because he's going to do an official run-up and make sure everything is functioning properly before we actually take off. We should also make sure that we're quiet whenever we hear a conversation going on the radio, because we want to make sure that Doug doesn't miss any information from the tower.